The biggest Malachi Toney offseason mystery has officially been solved.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I am Alex Donno, University of Miami alumnus, co-host of Locked On ACC and host of Postgame on the Hurricanes Radio Network. And thank you to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen. We're available free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube. We're part of the #1 Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. On this episode, we've got the audio of Mario Cristobal last night at an awards ceremony roasting Kirby Smart. Now, I want to note, Smart roasted Cristobal first. Mario was a rebuttal. So he did not strike the first punch on this one, but I thought he scored the knockout blow. We'll get to that. Speaking of that very awards ceremony, Malachi Toney did take home some hardware last night, but that's not the big offseason mystery. I can't tell you how many times I've been asked the question. Ever since Darian Mensah committed and signed with the University of Miami, Mensah, of course, wore the number 10 famously at Duke and at Tulane. Malachi Toney wore the number 10 at Miami. So I've been asked the question 10,000 times. What number is Malachi Toney going to wear in 2026? What number is Darian Mensah going to wear this season for Miami? I think both of those questions were answered by this reveal from Malachi today. Malachi Toney is going to switch from the jersey number 10 to the jersey number 1. New year, new number for the Miami Hurricanes top receiver. And I'm digging it. The number 1, which has only been used the last 2 years during the Mario Cristobal era, like the spirit behind wearing the jersey number 1, it's supposed to be reserved for the absolute alphas, right? For the guys who really earn it with their play on the field, their attitudes. Now, I know, the number 1 was not, I guess that well. I'm not trying to take shots at anybody, but, with JoJo Trader wearing that number on offense last year, who didn't have that impactful of a year at Miami, and he's since transferred to NC State, maybe you felt like the number wasn't that well represented in 2025. Cam Ward represented that number 1 exceedingly well in 2024. Kiko Mauinoa wore the number on defense in 2024. But this year, Malachi Toney, I think he's going to return that prestige to the number 1 jersey at the University of Miami. Malachi Toney made the announcement official. The University of Miami football account has also sent out some good memes and photos of Toney photoshopped into that number 1. And so, plan accordingly for the upcoming season. I can imagine that, same as they were throughout the year last year, those number 1 Toney jerseys are going to be flying off the shelves at Caneswear and all the other great retailers this coming season. And wherever you order your jerseys, people are going to be ordering those Malachi Toney number 1s. I imagine that's going to be one of the better sellers in the country. And so, as mentioned, with Toney officially making the switch to 1, this clears the runway for Darian Mensah to wear his preferred number 10 at quarterback for Miami this year. So you can expect that's a formality that, if Miami decides to make an announcement on that, not that they need to, because he's not like switching numbers. Toney is the one who's switching, so you can understand why they would make an announcement. But I imagine in about a month's time, when spring practices begin at the U and I walk into that facility, I'm going to be seeing QB1 wearing the number 10. And, of course, we're going to be seeing Malachi Toney wearing the number 1. And I mentioned Toney took home another piece of hardware last night. And, the award was given out in Gainesville, Florida, because Steve Spurrier's name is on that FWAA Freshman Award. But we call it Canesville. So Malachi Toney, Mario Cristobal was on hand. I imagine Toney's family was there as well. We're on hand in Gainesville last night for Toney to receive the FWAA Offensive Freshman of the Year award, named to the top offensive newcomer in the nation by the Football Writers Association of America. And that's not the only award that Toney won for his phenomenal true freshman year. Toney was also named ACC Rookie of the Year, both the ACC Overall Rookie and Offensive Rookie of the Year titles this year. He was selected as a freshman All-American by multiple outlets and a second-team All-America overall by the Associated Press, was named onto the All-ACC first team, and was named On3 Offensive True Freshman of the Year. I'm sure there were other awards that I'm missing on there. You know, when he was back in high school, he won the prestigious Nat Moore Award for his senior season at American Heritage, which is given to the top high school player in South Florida. So Toney has just been cleaning up the hardware since arriving at Miami. Now, speaking of that FWAA awards ceremony last night, if you haven't heard this, oh, you're in for a treat. And if you have heard it, you're going to want to hear this again. Mario Cristobal endured a couple of shots last night from Kirby Smart, and Mario came out of the corner firing. You want to keep it locked right here. We're only getting started on this brand new episode of Locked On Canes. Guys, workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's the stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours just made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support Locked On Canes by saying you heard about Indeed on this pod. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Have you ever dreamed of experiencing the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you've already been looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock in. I love futures this time of year, whether it's picking a team to win the championship or grab a conference title. It adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thank you for making Locked On Canes your first listen. And if you're an everydayer, make your status official by joining the Everydayer Club. You get exclusive episodes of a show I do called The Canes Colada, exclusive newsletter, one-on-one texting with me, and some other great benefits. Go to lockedoncanes.supercast.com or click the link in the show notes below to become an official Locked On Canes insider. All right, so it was at that awards ceremony. Now, full disclosure, I don't think before last night have I ever taken the time to watch videos from the Steve Spurrier Awards / FWAA Freshman Awards. Do they do it every year where the coaches roast each other? Or was that something unique to this year? Because now that I know that's a thing, I'm going to start watching this ceremony online, or hell, I might drive up to Gainesville and watch it in person, because these guys had some jabs at one another. So when Kirby Smart was on stage, talking about cornerback Ellis Robinson IV, who also won an award on the defensive side of the football. And if you guys remember the name Ellis Robinson, Miami recruited him heavily before he ultimately landed at UGA. And as Kirby Smart said when he was on stage, it came down to Miami versus UGA for Ellis. And then, of course, Kirby starts taking jabs at, hey, I don't want Mario Cristobal sitting too close to Ellis, because he's known to steal players, and he starts making these comments about NIL. And it's like when I'm seeing that, because I watched the Smart clip before I watched Cristobal's rebuttal, I'm like, damn. I mean, Kirby's like trying to dress it up like a joke, but it sounded like he was taking shots, but he was smiling while he was doing it. And then he also made a crack that, you got to admit, funny is funny. Steve Spurrier was on stage, and Smart made a crack about how, hey, like Mario should talk to Steve Spurrier because Spurrier won more conference titles at Duke than Cristobal has at Miami. I mean, it's funny because it's true. It was a good joke, but like he went after, especially with the NIL stuff and sitting too close to Ellis Robinson. Like Kirby Smart went after Mario, and then when Mario gets on stage, let me share this with you guys here. And this video was sent out by Jack Leo, who I imagine was in attendance there, the Leo Report. And he provided this video of Mario's rebuttal. And I got to say, like, Coach Cristobal's got some jokes, man. He did a pretty good job with this. Listen.
It is. I'll tell you what, the first thing is it's a great piece right there to watch what a player like Carson Beck could do with great coaching. You know what I
mean? Got him.
But no, seriously, let's give it up for Kirby Smart. Let's give it up for Kirby Smart. I mean, if it wasn't for all his years of pre-NIL, we wouldn't have NIL right now.
Come on, Coach.
Did you reach the button again? Robinson family, great seeing you. We leave at 9:30 on the Real Jet.
Real Jet.
We have more than one restaurant in Miami as opposed to Athens. Certainly appreciate being here. I know I could go on for a little bit now. But no, you gotta give a guy like Kirby credit. You know what I mean? When you have all that time to sit at home watching us play on TV throughout the playoffs, when you don't take care of business, but congratulations on the SEC and the championship. That's awesome. We were 5-0 against the SEC. I don't know what you were, but man, I'm in enemy territory too. I gotta feel some of you are on Kirby's side. But no, you guys are super professional. I never felt so welcome in enemy territory, except last year at the Swamp, 41-17. But
Spurrier.
That was meant for that guy, the Georgia guy. Can we all say screw Georgia? Screw Georgia. All right, on to the real stuff.
Oh my gosh. Can somebody get Coach Cristobal an open mic at the Improv? How long did he have to prepare that material? Like, I honestly, I don't know. Was that completely off the cuff? Or was Mario like watching Kirby take shots? I'm going to write some stuff down. Now, a couple things that I loved there. He brought up, hey, you guys were the pre-NIL because, yeah, there were a lot of accusations about Georgia doing NIL before NIL was legal. And I love how Cristobal managed to slip in a shot at the Gators. I haven't been this welcomed in enemy territory since 41-17 at the Swamp last year. Keeping in mind they're in Gainesville and Spurrier was sitting 6 feet away from him. So that was unbelievable. That was very, very well done by Coach Cristobal. And I admire Coach's restraint because all the jabs you can take at Kirby and UGA, Mario did not take the low-hanging fruit of all the traffic violations and the arrests. A lot of us probably would have taken it straight there to a pretty dark place, but Coach was above that. Like Coach kept the jabs civil. Pre-NIL, you were watching us in the playoffs while you're sitting on your couch. I thought that was very well done by Mario Cristobal. I would imagine despite there was a little heat there. Like I wonder, was it really all smiles or is there some sincerity behind those remarks? But Mario and Kirby are both from the Nick Saban coaching tree. I imagine they run in a lot of the same circles and they're hopefully friendly with one another. But friendliness only goes so far when you're competing for the same national championship, and you are competing for a lot of the same recruits. But I will say, after hearing those verbal jabs on both sides, I would love nothing more than Miami versus UGA in a playoff game this year or next year. Can we get that, please? We were so close to it last month. Georgia, of course, they had to beat Ole Miss, and they didn't. Miami did that in the following round, but had UGA knocked the Rebels out, it would have been Miami versus the Dogs, which would have been a big storyline, more so for the Carson Beck thing. And yeah, the other part of it, Cristobal, that was a great line. It was nice to see what Carson Beck could do with some real coaching. I mean, that was like the college football coaching version of a rap battle last night. And I would say the round went to Mario. I think Mario won that round. So very well done by Coach Cristobal. And something in unrelated news, this is real. So how every year, hurricane season, not the Miami Hurricanes, but the weather event, hurricane season, I guess it starts June at some point, but they've already released what the names of the storms are going to be. And one of the possible storm names for this upcoming hurricane season is Cristobal. You can't make this stuff up, folks. So there could literally be a Hurricane Cristobal swirling through the Atlantic Ocean within the next few months. Now, we obviously, lifelong Floridian here. You never want the hurricanes to actually hit you or be serious. My family endured Hurricane Andrew back in 1992, which was like a defining moment in my life. I was about to turn 8 years old, destroyed my childhood home. It was a real traumatic event. So we never want the actual serious hurricanes to make landfall. But if Hurricane Cristobal is gaining strength in the tropics come fall, I think the T-shirt possibilities and the NIL tie-ins are going to be endless on that one. So again, huge shout out to Mario for the great roast of Kirby Smart. Shout out to Malachi Toney for taking home another award, and that was well earned after Malachi had 1,211 receiving yards on 109 catches, 10 receiving touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. One of the most dynamic true freshman years I think any of us have ever seen. And, he deserves all the awards for the season that he just had. And Malachi Toney, as he revealed earlier today, is making that jersey switch from the number 10 to the number 1. So shout out to Toney. Shout out to Darian Mensah, who's going to get to wear his number 10 at Miami. And thank you to the Everydayers. Again, make sure you check out the Everydayer Club and get exclusive benefits there. LockedOnCanes.supercast.com. And we'll talk to you next time on another episode of Locked On Canes. We are part of the #1 Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.